Serve. In rotation one, it's Izzy Ashburn to serve it away, and off we go from Iowa with Delaney McSweeney down the middle, and Iowa's on the board first.
Straight right away, establishing the middle. I love when we see the setter really establish the middle blocker straight up the top, but we did talk with Coach Barnes. He likes to express his middle blockers as middle hitters because they can do more than just blocking, so it's nice to see that.
It is MH, not MB,
Exactly.
on the roster for a reason.
Exactly.
And this is a very good serving team, too, for Iowa, and an ace puts them up 2-0 with Moravec. So the lineup's brought to you by Unleaded 88. Didn't get a chance to talk about Devin Robinson off the top. She's back in her home state tonight. Grew up in Iowa and playing back in Coralville tonight for the Badgers.
Devin Robinson is one of my favorite players. I remember playing against her back in Maryland. She just really knows how to cut the ball off wherever she goes. She just manages the game and really mixes up her shots. She can not only hit from the right side, but the middle as well. So she's a very dynamic player overall.
And started as a middle on the right tonight with Carter Booth with the opening kill for the Wisconsin Badgers.
A very young player who is working on her spacing and just overall being quick on the quick. I love her arm swing. It's such a good one.
Gulje Guchtikin earns the overpass, and Franklin puts it down. So the Iowa starting lineup, we talked about Moravec on the outside for Iowa off the top, but Caitlin Buettner, the other outside, also plays 6 rotations. So new outsides, a totally remade pin for Iowa this season.
Yes, Buettner has impressed me. She actually reminds me of former Iowa to Pitt player Courtney Bazzario. She's really able to command the ball on the serve and pass. Opens up, and just her playing style is amazing to see her develop and take over for the Iowa program.
A Bazzario-like roll to the back row for Buettner.
Exactly.
And Iowa back in front after Buettner's kill. And Sydney Dennis with the service. And there's Devin Robinson, and that is inside the back line for a kill for Robinson.
A great shot in between the seams as well. Deep in the shot, really challenging not only the court, but the block as well. So seeing the defense in the back row and seeing how fast or how smooth you can hit is impressive to see.
Wisconsin libero Yulia Orgel on the service. There's Buettner down the line, and her second kill in the early going.
With a smart shot as well to get players out of system. And out of system, what I mean by that is to take out the setter, to give them a better chance of blocking. So taking out the setter, which scores all day, every day, might as well hit it and keep going off of it.
Putting it on Izzy Ashburn for her second kill of the night. And Buettner carrying a very heavy load. Already over 600 swings on the year. And Devin Robinson earns the overpass. And the tap for Crawford is inside the line.
Right over the block as well. Tipping is pretty hard when it comes to middle blockers because you have so many people that are ready to take your ball, and to tip at such a speed that nobody will get it is impressive overall for middles.
When there's so many players that MJ Hamill and Izzy Ashburn can set, Crawford doesn't see a lot of sets every night. It's usually in the 5 to 10 swing range.
She is a little undersized compared to her very tall roster lineup and her teammates, but her dynamic movement and just her speed overall, she's able to manage this season.
Guchtikin sets Franklin, and Iowa digs it with Urquhart. Guchtikin takes the second ball again, and the roll for Franklin is blocked. And Buettner is denied by Smrek, but out, and it's a point for Iowa.
Really challenging the block as well. When you have 2 great blockers, Wisconsin being top blockers in the conference and in the country right now, it's hard, but she's challenging the block and challenging the court to see what she can score on.
That's the biggest challenge, really, when anybody faces Wisconsin, but especially tonight. Iowa's pin hitters at 6'2". They're going to see that big wall that Kelly Sheffield puts up, sometimes with 6'7" and 6'9" along the front line.
They have great players in the front row. When it comes to volleyball players, you know that we're tall and you know that we're dynamic enough to make those big block moves. So to see them being successful at it, and all of them being successful at it, is awesome to see for Wisconsin's program.
Strong serve from Franklin as Hamill running the offense through Temi Thomas-Ilara. And Crawford puts it down for the second time.
A nice easy overpass as well for a middle. You need to be ready for whatever ball when it comes close to the net and placing it instead of just shooting it straight down. So choosing from side to side instead of what's right in front of you.
You ever find yourself getting a little antsy being in that spot in the middle on the overpass?
I do. Yes, it's like jousting with just you and the ball. So you have to be prepared for the little DSs that are right behind you that might take it away.
The ghost joust.
Exactly.
There's nobody in front of you.
Exactly.
Moravec outside in the cross court. Jim Barnes, he said that how this group works, yes, we don't have any wins in the Big Ten yet, but one is coming. And if it comes tonight, it would be one of the big upsets of the year in college volleyball.
Yeah, since 2018 as well. So, of course, we're going to remember the time when Iowa beat number 6 Wisconsin in 2018. But Jim Barnes, he's a great guy. He's doing whatever he can to keep the motivation on the team.
Now this was Moravec off of the pin with the kill for Iowa.
A great shot down the line as well. To mix up your shot as an outside is important to keep your defense on their toes.
And Yulia Orgel in serve receive, and it's an ace for Iowa to tie it up in this first set.
That's also one thing Coach Barnes has talked about to win the set, to win points, is having a great serve. Because when you have Orgel, who's in the back row, a great defensive player, you really have to challenge the serve receive.
Anna Davis went to Orgel again on back-to-back serves. And Moravec denied. Mateo gets hands on it. Moravec down the line, and she keeps Davis at the service line with the kill.
Hitting deep shot as well. It's hard to not only hit against big blockers, but to use that to your advantage and to hit above the blockers in front of you and around them to hit deep into the shot is so impressive and exciting to see.
Well, right now, Wisconsin has been absolutely rolling, but they take a timeout down early in this set.
I'm all about fall.
Timeout, it's still Anna Davis at the service line. And playing short to Smrek. And Smrek passing to swinging. And Urquhart up the set. Moravec and into the cross court.
Success with a touch on the block as well from Smrek. She really knows how to place the ball. And for two blockers to get a touch off of it and also turn that to an aggressive offense is going to be a success for Iowa to win this set.
Right now getting it around the 6'9" wingspan and the 11-foot 2 touch of Anna Smrek. Overpass. And Hamill going for Smrek and a tool shot kill for Anna Smrek.
A very easy tool. Tooling at this point in D1 volleyball is using the players across the net to your advantage and using their hands, their arms, whatever you can find to really challenge the block to your advantage.
That stops the Iowa run that forced the timeout for Wisconsin. Moravec with the tap. And Crawford with one arm on it for Wisconsin, but Franklin can't send it over.
Almost a save. Balls like that off the net that are kind of crazy, having to figure out how far the net is when really you're running away from the net. So you never know how far it actually is. So hopefully you just send it. Hopefully that it'll go over the net and see what you can do on your best shot.
There's Kaya Mateo, the freshman setter for Iowa. Hamill running back up to the net, sets Smrek, and she puts that down.
Who's not only a middle, but a right side as well. I love to see Wisconsin's versatility with all of their hitters. Smrek is not hitting just a slide on the right side, but a full approach to place the ball where she wants it and recognizing where the block is coming from.
Right now, with the versatility of the middles in this Wisconsin program, I sensed a little bit of jealousy yesterday when we were talking to Kelly Sheffield.
I'm definitely a little jealous of me. I've always wanted to be a pin hitter as a middle who's always been a middle. So it's nice to see that middles aren't just middles. They're right sides as well.
Oh, hey, Moravec's having a great start to this match for Iowa. Another kill.
With a young player as well, she really knows how to challenge the block. It's risky, but it's nice to see her hitting over the block and into seams deep into the court.
And she averages under 3 kills a set. She has 4 in this opening set against the #1 team in the country.
it's nice to see players that are taking advantage of the competition. So instead of playing down and hoping for the best, she's playing up with the level of competition that she's playing against.
There's Devin Robinson again. Her second kill of the night.
Devin Robinson is such an awesome player with her arm swing overall. She not only hits super fast, but she knows how to control the ball and manage the game as best she can.
And it's been outside heavy for Iowa. It's been middle and right side heavy early for Wisconsin.
Yes, these early calls are important because your blocks are getting used to what the scouting is. Your defense is getting used to where the set is going to go. So mixing up shots based off of the scouting in the past few games is important to make sure to keep your opponents on their toes.
Franklin tight to the net. Covered up Dennis with the dig. McSweeney is blocked. Dennis saves it again. Ashburn for Robinson and down the line. That's touched up and a point for Wisconsin.
With a fan going absolutely insane on the sidelines because this is such a great competitive rally between both sides of the court. Just keeping the ball alive, being scrappy, and using the block to your advantage to read the game and to understand that the ball may not be in, but sometimes it'll be out if you're just patient enough.
And we will get our first challenge of the night. It was ruled that it was touched by Iowa on the way by, and Jim Barnes goes to the challenge for the first time in this match. See anything there? First look?
See a touch, but of course, you know, the TVs and the refs can see something a little different. Very close, but
I didn't see a pinky move there, did you?
Oh, I mean, as a blocker, I think she's fine. So
blocker first before you're an attacker. I see where your head's at. So this was Robinson going line.
A great line shot, by the way, with her flicking her wrist to get the ball where she wants it, and also a great block setup to get the possibility of her hitting cross.
So that's Buettner up there blocking. Dennis behind the libero.
But from this angle, definitely a little bit farther than the other ones. A couple centimeters to not be a touch. And the honesty of players as well. Hopefully they're not wasting a challenge or wasting, you know, time off the court. So I don't see a touch personally.
You get 2 challenges. If you win it, you keep your challenge. We're told this is a challenge on the touch. Let's see in the back there. Is this potential in-out? That's pretty close. That looks like it's right on the line, though.
Right, but you do see a little bit of black in between the ball and the white line, just a little bit. Of course, if any part of the ball touches the line, it is in, so.
My feel on how this should be called on the court is no touch.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's in.
Okay.
Robinson sticking the line there.
Okay. Do you think that the line judge in his angle might have seen in than out? Because he is on top of the ball compared to our angle.
Oh, okay. Pulled out.
Yeah, we have our answer.
Never mind. Not on the line. So reverse the point. Instead of 11-11, it's 12-10 Iowa. That is really close.
It's an overall competitive play, too. So this will determine the momentum being switched between the two teams.
White panel of the ball close to white line.
Right.
It's a really close one, but overturned on the challenge. And Iowa up by 2 in this opening set with Sydney Dennis serving. Ashburn out for Franklin. And a long set over for Buettner. And it's recycled. Ashburn for Booth. And saved by Buettner. Hustling off the net to keep the point going. And Robinson out.
A competitive rally from Iowa as well. With such scrap and such chaos on the court, they were able to manage and just be patient with Bailey Ortega using whatever whatever body part she can get, and also using the net to your advantage. Just getting on the floor and keeping the ball alive is so important in volleyball.
So a 3-point lead for Iowa against the #1 Badgers. And over the block and down, the lead swells to 4. Off the right with Gabby Deary.
A very scrappy ball to hit it over the block and just to tip it overall. It's hard when you see two big blockers in front of you, so to stay scrappy and to tip it right in the donut in the middle of the court is nice to see.
Franklin with the tap. Booth covers it up. And Robinson kept alive by Ortega, but Iowa can't send it over.
We're seeing a lot of scrap right now from Iowa and them just trying to keep the ball alive. So hopefully with these next couple points, we see success of a lot more control and managing for their game.
Jim Barnes has the top digs team in the Big Ten. He said that's twofold. You know, we need to finish a little bit more so the rallies aren't quite as long, and there's a short rally. Caitlin Buettner puts it away.
Just like that. Just having defense who is able to be wherever they are, not being afraid of the ground overall with defense. So once it gets past the block, it's up to the passers in the back row to keep the ball as high as you can, to slow down the game, give your hitters a chance to transition and approach for the ball.
Well, those hitters for Iowa almost doubling up their season hitting percentage. Hitting in the 400s about midway through this first set. And Robinson cross court finds the spot.
This is her probably a couple times now that she's hit that spot, so hopefully Iowa can manage that ball and see that her trend right now with hitting that backcourt shot is one of her go-tos.
It's really hard to pick when you watch the tape. You look at the numbers. What is Devin Robinson's best night of the season? It's been a season of best nights.
Exactly. Especially having all hitters that have even amount of attempts, so you never know where the ball is going to go. And blocking the right side is actually very difficult if you're a righty as a blocker, because that's your non-dominant side. So Devin Robinson has some advantage.
That was crafty from Anna Davis out at the antenna.
You have to bring craft against Wisconsin. They're such a powerful house when it comes to just their offense and their defense overall. So bringing something different that they've never seen before can bring them success.
Buettner with the service, and that's out.
Very close, headed towards Sarah Franklin. It's important as a server to serve towards outside hitters, to take them out of their offense and to go away from liberos that specialize in passing. So it's a smart shot overall, but a little bit off the net.
A good read from Sarah Franklin, who they were trying to serve.
Exactly.
And now Franklin gets to serve. Mateo setting this rotation and running the slide with Davis.
This is the first slide of the set as well. Seeing a slide from a middle is exciting to see as they cut the ball off as soon as they can and using all of her momentum to bring it right back and into the seams with a late block in front of you.
Davis has been a terrific story, returning from a devastating injury last year. One of the most effective players. There's Anna Smrek off the pin one more time.
They're really dominant right now with their right side, so if they keep up the good work, then it'll keep bringing them success.
The right sides have 7 of the 10 kills in this first set.
Which is awesome. And also, I'm guessing the middles are the other amount of attempts so far.
And Crawford has 2 of them. Booth has 1 of them.
Yes,
Franklin,
look at
the
that.
outside, just has 1.
Right.
Here's Smrek over the block. Dennis in to save it. And a free ball chance for Wisconsin. Hamill for Smrek, and she terminates.
She's found out that Devin Robinson found her spot, and so will Schmeck, finding that deep spot to the 1 where the setter usually is, with Iowa running a 5-2. So that spot is hard for them to both find their seams, collide together. It's bringing them some success.
The service earns Wisconsin a free chance with Thomasai Lara with her first kill of the night for Wisconsin.
Temi overall is an aggressive player when it comes to her arm swing. It just overall feels good to block her, playing against her back when she was at Northwestern. I love to see how she managed the game and just mixes up shots. So overall, to see her success with Wisconsin is great to see. see her success this match is going to be interesting to see how she's going to continue to evolve during this game.
Well, right now, year 2 for Jim Barnes as the Iowa head coach, and they started over at the outside position. And as of a couple of matches ago, both those players, Moravec and the other outside, Caitlin Buettner, are playing 6 rotations, a heavy load, and on the court a lot.
Yes, that brings a lot of communication that you need to when you're on the court the entire time. Communication with your setters and your defense and your pins as you're blocking. So overall, it's a lot of pressure, but they're doing what they need to do.
Well, Wisconsin was ready for Moravec out of the timeout. Smrek and Booth combined for the block.
You're exactly right. They understand that Moravec is the player to be determined to block, and they did so with Smrek that's pressing over the net as best she can and being determined to cut the ball off as best she can as well.
Now, Iowa led at 17-13. Wisconsin has responded with a 4-0 run, tied up at 17. Thomas Ailara, dug by Dennis. The back row attack, Buettner. And Hamill had the dig. Up at the net, a joust is won by Thomas Ailara to give Wisconsin the lead.
A strong joust. We love to see joust on the top of the net and see who's going to win it. So what I learned is that you can't press the first press of the ball, if that makes sense. You have to wait a little bit and then give it right back. So kind of like a setter versus a ball in the air. It's hard, but overall it's a lot of fun.
Slow play your press.
Exactly.
And Thomas Ailara dug with her card in the back. And Franklin, back row ball. Another joust. And Dennis up with it. Joust again. And Dennis covers it up again. Moravec is blocked. Smrek and Booth.
There's that competitive side we love to see Wisconsin doing with their joust and just being patient. Let's use our strength and our power being super high in the air to just shut the ball down and be ready for whatever ball they're going to give us, to place it and use our handwork to put it right down in front of them, being super determined.
It's turned into a fencing match late in this first set in Iowa City.
Jouster on the net is a lot of fun because you have to use your strength and your IQ and just seeing what can I do with the ball. Overall, just being as strong as you can, being smart, and recognizing that there's defense in front of you. So if I could push it down as fast as I can, as strong as I can, it'll come in handy.
You were talking about the slow play on that. Can you go a little deeper on that?
Yeah, so with the slow play, you have to be patient. You have to recognize that across the net, you have defense in front of you, and just waiting, being patient to realize it doesn't need to go straight down. We just need to place it somewhere smart. So if I can place it somewhere smart and somebody happens to get it up, then that's okay. So just wait for the next one.
A very good jouster, very good blocker. Carter Booth, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. And an ace out of the timeout for Wisconsin.
For Wisconsin to pull through with the ace as well, with how Iowa's hitters are doing a great job right now. They need to find a way to cut that out as soon as they can.
And CeCe Crawford looking to go on a run, get Wisconsin to the finish line in this first set. Moravec, I don't know if that's what she was trying to do, going sharp. But it worked. It
worked, of course. The block was a little bit late, so that gave her some advantage to have a cross-court shot, where Carter Booth was a little late. So it comes in advantage when your blocker across the net is a little bit off timing.
Kaya Mateo serving. And too strong.
Right now, the mentality for Iowa is to just get a momentum for the upcoming set and for Wisconsin to close this gap and to also keep the gap between them and Iowa's score. So to see how the players are going to continue to communicate with each other is going to be interesting to see.
Izzy Ashburn for Wisconsin. Ortega sets McSweeney and into the net. So Wisconsin has turned around from trail position, down 4 to up 4, and 3 points away from their 16th consecutive set win. First ball for Dennis. That sends Ortega, the setter, off of the net. So Ashburn and Robinson in system. And a thing of beauty.
Same shot as well. We're so excited to see how she just keeps on hitting that same exact spot. So hopefully Iowa can see that she keeps hitting that spot and find that trend. But if it's working, keep on hitting it.
9 of the last 10 to the Badgers. McSweeney finds the middle of the floor.
One thing about McSweeney is she actually hits the ball on the way down. So with her height, we recognize that she's tall, set the ball as high as we can, but with timing as a middle, it's a little bit difficult. So with her hitting the ball on the way down, it's hard for defense to read it.
Her and Bailey Ortega, 2 top leaders of this team. Middle and setter. Thomas Ilara with the roll and in front of Dennis. That brings up set point number 1 for Wisconsin.
A smart shot from Temi. Coaches also recognize, and I recognize it, you never know where Temi is going to hit. You think that she's going to completely smash it down the line, but next thing you know, she's either rolling it like she just did or hitting a nice, sharp cross shot.
Now, the hitting chart is very messy as far as where the ball's going.
All over the place, but a good thing as well.
On set point number 1. Ashburn up to the net, and Booth puts an end to it.
I love Wisconsin and just her success overall. So, you know, cheering for both sides of the court.
And off we go in set number 2 after Iowa put a scare into the number 1 team of the country, up by 4 late in that first set. But Wisconsin recovered, up 1-0 on the road. Moravec had a big first set. Here's Franklin and Dennis hanging in tough for the dig. Ashburn with the first ball. So Robinson out of system. Here's Moravec. Another out of system trip on that side for Wisconsin. And into the block with Franklin and Booth.
Tons of out-of-system balls and tipping this first point. So hopefully both sides of the court can find a way to get the ball, I guess, a lot more controlled for their team. So to get a stop with finally a swing is nice to see for the first set.
First year as the libero for Wisconsin, Yulia Orgel with the service for the Badgers. Another free ball for Wisconsin. Robinson. And Moravec off the overpass, reloads it. And that's down off hands for Deary.
And Bailey Ortega with the side set as well to set her right side as fast as she can is awesome to see how she was not afraid to hit again when she got blocked before. So to see that determination in finding seams is awesome.
And Deary reemerged in the last match for Iowa. She had a couple of weeks where she wasn't in the lineup. Now playing that front row, and Urquhart goes out. And a tool shot kill for Franklin. Pays one back.
So that shows the fight of within practice and to get in those extra reps and communicate with your coach and finding more film sessions. So all these players need to recognize that it's always a fight to be on the starting lineup and to make your mark on the team and make a difference for the program.
Here's MJ Hamill at the service line. And that dipping serve leads to an ace.
A great ace as well, right towards a pin hitter. Definitely finding ways to hit those seams, those really hard seams from one side of the court to the other, from a long shot that's easy to read, but also with the drop that MJ Hamill had with her serve is awesome.
And the second ace of this match for Wisconsin after Iowa came out heavy-handed at the service line.
And let's see if Wisconsin can do it again.
And Buechner off the block and down.
A little bit of miscommunication right there. I think that Iowa is starting to find that if they can create scrap against Wisconsin, they'll have success. So overall, Wisconsin needs to communicate with overall. Coach Kelly's obviously not very happy about that move, but hopefully they can continue to communicate overall and to see some change right now.
So first point of this set, when it was all out of system balls, it felt like advantage Iowa, you think?
Yes, 100%. They do better when their scrappiness and keeping their opponents on their toes, never knowing where the ball is going to go or what they're going to do with it.
Crawford on the slide there. Out, evens it up at 3 in set 2.
A little bit hard to hit off a slide when your direction of your body is going all the way to the right, and then to have to cut it off all the way to the left is hard to do, but overall you can manage it over time.
And Franklin rolls one off the deck from Moravec. Hamill for Smrek, and she finds the middle.
A little bit of trickle, we call a paintbrush from the middle to kind of not really completely hit it, but to get a trickle effect with your hit. So if it works in the middle of the court, then it'll keep on working in the future.
Put it in the Louvre, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's a funny saying. That's a tweet right there.
It's probably something at Badger BB would put on Twitter, by the way.
Right.
Well, it's saved with Crawford in the middle. And blocked by Temi Thomas-Ailara.
An easy block as well.
Hey, the Big Ten Plus app delivers thousands of non-televised live events, access to next-day on-demand replays, multi-view to watch up to 4 games at once, and a 24/7 channel for your favorite school. There's no Plus like home. Subscribe and stream for as low as $9.95 a month at BigTenPlus.com. And Buechner with the tool shot kill, Iowa back within 1.
Yes, those tool shots are hard because you're aiming high hands with such high blockers. So for it to be successful out of bounds is impressive to see because you can tell that Iowa defense is ready for any ball that's going to come back with Wisconsin's big blockers across the net.
Now here's a real weapon for Iowa at the service line, Michelle Urquhart. There's Franklin and serve receive, and Wisconsin gets her right off that service line with Smrek.
Just feeding the right side. Smrek is really great at her footwork overall when hitting. So you never know if she's going to have a more of a faster approach or slower approach. So it's hard to read overall as a blocker.
Smrek working on a 6-kill night. Like you said, making it hard on those Iowa blockers. And contact up at the net point for Iowa.
Both Iowa and Wisconsin are fighting those balls that are a little bit different, very, I guess, weird mistakes overall. So I think right now they just need to kind of manage the game a little bit to pull it together, but it's okay.
Hamill for Smrek, who's turned back. Booth digs it out of there. And Mateo, and that's down. Moravec ties it up at 6.
One thing about Mateo is the way that she sets. So it's super, super fast. She's a young setter, and it's hard to read off her ball overall when she's setting because it looks like she's going to set the middle when really she's going to set the outside, and the speed of it is so intense overall.
Got Wisconsin on their heels a little bit. Going outside again, the freshman setter, Kaya Mateo. And Jim Barnes, her head coach, was raving about her intelligence to us yesterday. Thomas-Ailara, cross court, and a kill for the Wisconsin Badgers outside.
Very easy ball, just placing you where you need to go to create a momentum for your pins and just for your hitters. So just to find the court, find seams, and making life a little bit easier for your hitters.
Mateo with the back set. An easy dig for Franklin, and Booth unloads on that ball.
A super great set, one-handed as well. So as a hitter, you have to be ready for balls like that. I love to see when setters really trust their players and trust that if I'm going to put the ball up, you're going to put the ball straight back down.
Reigning defensive player of the week.
And now showing our offense.
Dennis couldn't get out of the way. Backed up on her a little bit in Ashburn with the knuckling ace.
A little bit deep as well. So to really test out the libero and just how the ball is dropped but also seems like it's going out is awesome to see as serving is just growing over time.
Dennis up front this time. And Dennis did get there. Booth off the tape, recovers. Mateo for Davis cross court. Ashburn there, and Robinson can't save it.
So much scrap right now between both players. The Iowa program right now is really taking control on how they're playing, and Wisconsin is a little bit fragile with how they're going to react to it, but I think that it's working for Iowa right now for them to make a comeback.
Ashburn for Thomas Ilara. Wisconsin up 3.
She said no more scrap. We're going to put it down right now. Just her approach overall is so impressive to see how her arm swing is so fast, but her approach is so slow. So the slow to fast approach for an outside hitter is awesome to see it being successful with it.
As you mentioned before, so unpredictable on as a back row player. Where's that ball going?
Exactly.
Which way am I leaning?
Right.
So Wisconsin with a couple in a row. It would have been very easy for Iowa to come out of that first set disappointed after what Kelly Sheffield and Wisconsin did in the comeback and just let this thing get out of hand, but they've kept it close in set 2.
Yeah, Coach Barnes has emphasized that the motivation that his players has and just the vulnerability with each other. So each practice, they all sit in a circle and they talk about sometimes not just volleyball, but just life in general. So just a great family orientation overall.
And they side out with Moravec. And that's something that Jim Barnes really stressed last year. He took him out to Dyersville, took him to the Field of Dreams. They wanted kind of an Iowa theme to bring them together. This year, they kept it local.
Right. They're keeping proud of being a Hawkeye.
And Franklin into the cross court. With a kill for the Badgers.
One thing that I noticed, even though, of course, I was a middle blocker, I know that Sydney Dennis could probably use her body a little bit more to cut off the ball instead of her arms to bring her some success with defending her outside.
It's the first-year libero for Iowa, Sydney Dennis. First-year full-time libero. She has the first contact here. Moravec almost played free and almost snuck it in front of Orgel. There's Moravec again on the tip, and Robinson and Crawford seal it up. Robinson's okay, came up limping a little bit.
I think she's okay, but just waiting and being patient. The hang time with both of these players is awesome to see, so hopefully her body overall is okay.
Timeout.
Here's to the co-pilot.
There for alumni weekend, so it's going to be nice to be home for the first time since I graduated.
I might ask you to block in that match.
I'll bring my gear.
Block put up by Franklin up at the front for Wisconsin, +6 in the second set for the Badgers.
Just their overall timing between the two players isn't as fast as a lot of other teams in the program. So to be patient on a block and to hit is also very impressive, to be patient as a player.
A dig for Orgel. High ball for Franklin. And on the tap, it's point Iowa. So Iowa back within 5 after Wisconsin stretched it out, one of their biggest leads of the night at 6.
Yes, right now Wisconsin just needs to keep that going, keep the momentum rolling, and Iowa to find ways to create a block, create a touch off the block, and just to create defense to get a stop against Wisconsin.
Out of the serve for Moravec. Wisconsin was challenged by Kelly Sheffield in their midweek match last week. They beat Ohio State, swept them, but he didn't feel like they played their cleanest.
Yeah.
This is a chance tonight to do better than that.
Right, to create a comeback. Watching Ohio State, they're such a competitive program overall. So to see Wisconsin not satisfied with a sweep is showing that their program wants to keep on growing. If this isn't about the end result, this is about the result during the match and the stats and the hitting percentage and the growth of players.
And kills keep coming for Buechner. Her and Moravec, the outsides, both have 7. And Kelly Sheffield did feel his team was much better in their scrap, in their effort on the weekend match against Michigan. We asked him, what do you want to get accomplished in this match outside the obvious? Every coach says, we got to serve, we got to pass well.
Yes.
Of course, they want to win the match. That's part of it. But Kelly Sheffield was pretty fired up this week about practice time and the time that volleyball coaches have to work with their players in the offseason.
Yes.
So this is kind of a learn as we go, even though we're a 13-0 type mentality for Wisconsin.
Because with a program that has so many high expectations, you have to learn that this is a time for the players to evolve, for the offseason, and for the players past their college career. Like talking about Dana Recke, she's training 11 months out of the year. So preparing these players for the future and how their bodies and their mentality needs to be for their future volleyball life is training right now with Wisconsin.
6 matches in 16 days for Wisconsin. So not a lot of practice time. It's a lot of recovery time in there. And the pancake for Orgel to keep that alive. Ortega up at the net setting for Iowa. A little off target, but didn't matter for Buettner.
The ball worked, a down ball as well. Those are always usually the easiest balls to read, but if you're not prepared for where the ball is going to go, it's sometimes tricky for who's going to get the ball and whose assignment is which. So just a little bit miscommunication there.
We saw Orgel pound the floor after leaning a little bit.
She was not happy about that. She knew that's my job, that's my bat. I'm a libero, I'm supposed to get everything.
And there's one of those whistling serves for Urquhart for an ace.
A great ace as well. The ball is going straight down, so for her handwork to cut it off and slow the tempo down creates a really tricky shot for a libero that has a lot of responsibility in the back row.
Their best server goes after Franklin this time. Urquhart has the first ball on the dump. Pushed over by Orgel. And that's down. Not the highest velocity for Davis, but it works.
But right in the donut with the ball that's being touched on the block and just never really knowing where the ball is going to go. The slide is definitely one of her go-tos, and it works every single time.
And past Crawford on the way by. Getting over on the block. Big part of Smrek's game that she's been working on. Now out of system balls. And that's outside the antenna on the tap.
Sometimes it's a little tricky as an outside to manage a ball that's literally coming from so far away, and to get it in the net, the antenna, let's just say it was in the way, and she's going to work her way around it.
Kill if the antenna weren't there.
Exactly.
Only if. For Buettner. Bump set out for Buettner. And Booth recovers after the block touch. And Thomas Ilara denied. And back row attack for Moravec. Thomas Ilara. Moravec is there. Buettner up tight to the net, and down it goes.
Just a scrappy rally we've been seeing this entire match, and how people are trying to keep the ball alive. So for the ball to trickle down in between all players. So this is a very frantic rally when it just keeps on going. So the fatigue and the communication tends to settle down a little bit, and this is the time to take advantage to be scrappy against the opponents.
Wisconsin looked like they were in pull-away position. Up 17-10. Iowa with 4 of the last 5 points. Franklin in serve receive. There's Moravec, and the run continues for the Hawkeyes.
A great cross-court shot past the libero and past the defense as well in front of her. She used that time to wait for her time, to wait, be patient, and use all of her power to create a stop to Wisconsin run.
Off one of her most explosive matches in the Big Ten, Natalie Moravec. That ball exploded off the hand of Smrek. And Iowa straps again to save the point. Buettner over to the bench. Trying Smrek again. Buettner is there. Thomas Ilara.
motivation for all of the players. You saw that they kept hitting and the ball kept coming back. So for Temmie to shut it down right then and there, to see that seam, she's going to take advantage of the ball being fed to her no matter what.
Well, Wisconsin got off several of their better-looking swings in this match. Iowa hung in, but it was the third time with Thomas Ilara.
Yes, it's basically a free ball back coming to them, so they're trying to find a way, an advantage to that overpass.
Izzy Ashburn already with an ace tonight back there at the service line. Mateo off the net. Buechner rolls with a Franklin dig. Thomas Ilara skying an athletic kill for Thomas Ilara.
A very tricky shot, too, for her to tip over the block and to see that right now Iowa's defense is trying to get as many touches as they can. So to be right in front of the setter where she's trying to set but also trying to have defense is a very smart shot.
Mop's getting a workout in the second set, huh?
It is a hockey arena, so it's surprising to see some players that are sweating right now. They're working hard.
We need a Zamboni for Terraflex.
That's funny.
Mateo for Moravec. Urquhart up showing some setting hands. And it was Mateo, the setter, got that swing off. A bump set for Robinson. Mateo on the second ball. Thomas Ilara. Urquhart with a dig. Free ball, Wisconsin. And that is saved by Orschel. Oh my goodness. Best point of the night right here is Davis out to the antenna. And it ends on the double contact. Oh, that's a shame because we saw some absolute scrapping going on that point.
That was absolutely awesome to see Orschel do whatever she can to keep the ball alive. Temmie just using one arm, just tons of one arms this rally, and to see so much enthusiasm after the point, to see that they kept it alive and they shut it straight down.
So Wisconsin in control on the scoreboard and winning this set, but it is a fight right now at Iowa.
On a heartbreaking Fansville by
about 5 years old in Coralville, Wisconsin took the first set and they lead this second set, but Hawkeye fans, with the scrap we've seen in this back row and this Iowa team overall, been on their feet a couple of times.
Yeah, it's to show that Iowa is trying their best through all the matches right now. Is all of the scores and the points overall have been so close. So they're giving these teams a fight, but with a team like Wisconsin, they're going to fight right back and to give them a large gap for them to fight.
Ashburn digs Moravec. Thomas Ilara, a little bit too much on it.
A little bit long, so she may or may not have been hitting towards the backcourt or to try to tool the block, but sometimes it's a little long and that's okay. It's better to go long than into the net.
The serving middle, Anna Davis. Robinson wrapped around.
And there's a dynamic that we talked about with Devin Robinson. She can hit right side, she can hit outside, she can hit right in the middle, and her specialty right now is a slide and being scrappy with it right over the tip of the block too.
Set him up with that because we showed the package of her highlights in the first set. It was cross court, hammer, hammer, hammer.
Exactly, and now she's hitting shots that we never expect her to hit.
Guchtikin on the service. There's McSweeney out to the pin, and Guchtikin with a pancake. And a double contact on Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is not very happy about that. We may or may not see a challenge, but it did look up, it did look live. This has been a very scrappy match, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a challenge on this.
What was he saying that it was? I think the down ref was saying maybe it hit the forearm twice, not simultaneous for Guchtikin.
Right, but if it's the first touch, it isn't technically considered a double.
Well, serve is out. Wisconsin 2 points away from finishing off a second set win, overcoming what they thought was not a good call.
Yep, not at all. Kelly wants to fight for every single point, and there's nothing wrong with fighting for every single point because that could give them a chance to practice serving a little bit different or to try something new with their game plan coming up.
Ortega finds McSweeney quickly out of the middle.
So excited to see her connecting with the setter from far away. With the height difference, it's a little bit difficult, but I did notice that for me personally, shorter setters are easier to set with because they just shoot it up in the air and kind of hope for the best and connect well.
After McSweeney's kill, here's Moravec. Bump set for Franklin, didn't matter. Set point coming for Wisconsin.
A very easy shot as well to hit down the line like she's been hitting this entire match. So to see her continue the trend with the ball that's continuing to work is awesome to see her do it all the way towards the end of the set.
Hasn't been smooth, hasn't been easy, but here Wisconsin is on the doorstep of a 17th consecutive set win. And Buechner thumps it off the block. On set point number 1, Anna Smrek puts an end to it.
Straight down the line as well. To see Wisconsin take charge of this set and to not let Iowa get past 20 is impressive to see on how they're going to continue that trend for the third set here. Very young players that are going to really contribute to their team. So to bring in players that are young and youthful and just overall great enthusiasm is awesome to see Michigan State in their, I guess, reputation for their program.
And set 3 off and running. Wisconsin looking for their 23rd consecutive Big Ten win. And a good start with Robinson into the cross court.
So right now you're going to see a trend between these past 2 sets and this third set. So both people and both players on both sides of the court have their trends on what they've been doing this entire match. So this is a time for them to switch things up a little bit and keep their defense, really never knowing where the ball is going to go.
And Davis with a dig from Ashburn. Back row, Moravec, too heavy.
A little bit long, but from a defensive back row, it's hard to track the ball with such timing and just you have so many spaces that you can hit to. So just hitting corner to corner can bring some success.
Here's the Ashburn. Work hard for Buechner. That is saved by Thomas Ilara. And Buechner. Thomas Ilara rewarded for that save she had earlier on the point.
An easy tool off the block as well, and for Temi to keep contributing with such a great player and just being ready. The hustle overall from Temi is impressive. For her to save the ball and then go right back up and score is awesome to see with Temi.
Free ball coming for the Badgers. Thomas Ilara looking for double-digit kills on the night. Won't come after the nice dig. There's Mateo coming up. Robinson blocked. Denied by Buechner with help from Anna Davis.
They really shut that ball down as well, pressing over the net. Devin Robinson has hitting that cross shot this entire match, so for them to really block where the ball is going to go is awesome to see handwork from a pin hitter to a blocker.
That was Buechner with the handwork after her nice night on the attack. And that floats a little heavy. And Urquhart off of the service line for Iowa. We saw it in the weekend match against Illinois. She went on a 5-point service run to start that match, playing short zone, playing deep zone, changing pace on her serve.
So seeing a server that is what they say a yo-yo, you never know where the ball is going to go. It's great to see how somebody with a server can score off of so many different kinds of serves and to keep the serve receive never knowing where the ball is going to go. So it's awesome to see a server with versatility.
Urquhart's one of those servers I bet made you happy that you didn't have to spend much time in server seat.
Exactly. As a middle blocker, my responsibility was if the ball trickles off the net, I'll get that. Anything else, I'm just going to be patient and wait until the ball comes to me.
Well, that's no concern for Carter Booth tonight either. Just kills and blocks all night long.
Right. That's why she's doing so well at it. She has 2 jobs and she's doing great.
4 kills, 4 blocks. Buettner receives Orgel. Ashburn for Crawford, and that rattles through the block.
A success play as well. To get a touch off the block really slows the ball down from a really fast outside hitter to give the middles a chance to take their time to transition off the net and then go right back up to contribute to the team.
That's in for Yulia Orgel. An ace for the Badger libero.
A deep ace as well. That's so hard to track when you think the ball is going to go all the way out, but then it just happens to drop. It's so awesome. And for Wisconsin to contribute with their serving is great to see with this set so far.
Old Trapper beat.
Yulia Orgel at the service line after an ace. And serving again. And Iowa gets her off the service line with Moravec's kill.
Yeah, before using the tool, but now using that to your advantage to hit high hands, which sometimes can turn into a slow ball to give Wisconsin a chance. But now it's a little bit tricky when the ball goes right over the block and then into a seam where the libero isn't.
Moravec into that block and threw it again.
Another tool as well, just using that to her advantage. So when you see 2 blockers in front of you and you see a small bit of daylight, just hit towards it and sometimes just hope for the best with 2 big blockers in front of you.
And coming off that great match on the road against Illinois. Moravec doing it again after the double-double. And Franklin with the tool. And Wisconsin doubling up Iowa 8-4.
We're seeing a tons of tools this season overall with the outside hitters, so they're really challenging the block. When you, let's say, don't have a Raynell Jones across the net, you can do whatever you can do whatever you need to tool the block in front of you with your opponents.
You thought you were going to sneak that in and nobody would notice. That's one to sit on for Friday.
I know,
when you're doing the Maryland match. I'm telling you, Terraflex Zamboni's got to be a thing.
It's hopefully they'll create something. A nice engineer from Iowa can create a nice invention for a Zamboni for volleyball.
I volunteer to work 2 jobs if that becomes a profession. McSweeney, did she paint the line? She did not.
So close as well for a moving set to the middle. It's hard to move towards the setter, but also it's nice. So just a little bit outside the court, but we're going to see a challenge here with Barnes.
An out call challenge. That was McSweeney on the move from the middle out to the pin on the slide.
I do see a little bit of hand movement with the ball and McSweeney with Franklin.
You see a pinky there?
I do see a pinky and a ring finger a little bit as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's a good call by coach to challenge that ball, trusting their offense and what McSweeney can hit.
So likely a reversal, likely the second challenge won.
Right.
By Jim Barnes in Iowa. Might have been it too. It looks like it was right on the line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks like I don't see much black between the ball and the line, so it may also be in as well.
So from one inflection point of that replay or another.
Exactly.
Going to
Two
be
in their
point
favor.
Iowa.
Exactly.
Okay, so point Iowa, as we suspected, and Iowa keeps that challenge in their pocket.
That's one thing that's nice about the challenges. Once you get a good challenge, you get to keep it. So I love to see international ball come over to the States and keep our challenges going.
And you just lived it in Italy.
I did, yes. Half a year.
Okay, so Iowa led in the first set. Wisconsin controlled most of the second set. Wisconsin trying to put away this match up in set 3, and Crawford over the top.
With Crawford, she's just a fast offensive player. She really surprised me with her speed of a game and her versatility to either hit the ball when it comes to slides or just tip over the block, which can also be very useful for a defense that's ready for a hit.
A lot of cross-training for those net players for Wisconsin.
Yes. Yes, they're ready to hit around the block and to challenge the block.
And it hangs on the tape for an ace for Sarah Franklin.
Those balls are always very lucky and fun to see, and also just showing that we are trying to hit as low and tight to the net as possible, and if it can score and give us an ace, we will take that.
Zone 1, you could tell from Smrek's signal, that was the intent.
Right.
Down tape, a sharp shot for Moravec, and Orgel runs it down. Free chance for Ortega, the setter, and McSweeney slices it down.
Feeding McSweeney from going to pin this entire match to feeding their middle. I love to see how they're incorporating her as best she can with the gap that has been a little bit of a paintbrush to now a full-on swing with both her middle and her setter.
And Moravec with an ace.
Really showing that she is able to hit both deep balls and short balls to challenge the libero in front of her to see if she can move forward and back.
And serve to Thomas Ilara. Franklin out of the back earns the overpass. Thomas Ilara out.
Almost hitting it down the line, but just a little bit wide.
So with Moravec back serving, Iowa has it within 2. This is a player that Kelly Sheffield warned his team is dangerous at the service line. Back-to-back serves at Thomas Ilara. And pass to swing. Moravec over the top. And Buechner rattles the block. Crawford recovers. Ortega running around the court. Buechner off the block, and it is a 1-point set 3.
A tool as well to challenge the block with the players in front of you, and for Temi to be on her toes on hopefully that I can get this ball, but just really, really sharp with her approach and just her swing to challenge that really sharp shot. Is awesome to see her getting close to tying it up.
No reaction from Kelly Sheffield. That's out. That ends the run for the Hawkeyes with Moravec on the service error.
Just overall leading her team with services and doing whatever she can. When it comes to serving, you are in control of the game and you're in control of where you're going to serve the ball. So to have a run with that is awesome.
Take on the back set. MJ Hamill for Smrek, and down it goes.
Lots of tools right now with the blocks, but also with Iowa trying to control the ball, and Smrek just using her height and her ability to hit high hands is coming in handy with her against Iowa.
It has been a really steady year for Anna Smrek. Of course, peaked late in her freshman year 2 years ago. Was a little bit slow getting started last year, and then peaked toward the end of the season again, but it's just been a flat line of success for most of the year for Anna Smrek.
It has. She did have a lot of comparison with Dana Recchi, so coach did say that Smrek has a lot more power and has a better arm, and also it jumps a lot better, but compared to Dana Recchi, she had more control of her body and the speed of her game. So to see Smrek build her own personality and her own player development is awesome to see, as she is not peaking anymore, but growing as an athlete for the Wisconsin program.
This is a hard question. We even asked Kelly Sheffield this yesterday. Who would you least like to dig as a back row player on the Wisconsin team?
Schmeck versus Dana Recchi?
You can take it that way, sure.
Okay, yeah. I would not want to be against Schmeck, if we're being honest. Watching how I never know where the ball is going to go, that is my go-to right now.
She sends out here is Buechner, skying high for the kill for the Hawkeyes.
Getting caught right in between the floor and Orzel, so she is doing a ball that is shorter but also fast. So for her to cut the ball off right into the middle of the court, really using that hard opportunity with an open field is just great to see as a player.
Buechner and Moravec, the outsides for Iowa, combined 21 kills. Only about halfway through this third set. And a block put up. It was Davis out of the middle.
An intensive block. She loved that feeling. Getting a block is absolutely awesome. To cut the ball off against Devin Robinson, who has been scoring this entire match. So pressing over, finishing to the three, and being excited about it after it.
Kaya Mateo combining with Davis. Mateo got the biggest piece of it. And Robinson into the net. And here come the Hawkeyes, tying it up in 13 at the third set.
This is starting to create some doubt for our players across the net with Wisconsin. So this is a time for Iowa to really use this as a run and a charge to create more points, and for Wisconsin to hopefully stop this run as fast as they can.
Jim Barnes said with the work rate of his team, eventually they're going to get a result that they can be really proud of. And that's out. They lead Wisconsin once again. And Jim Barnes told us that, we're not into the whole moral victory thing. It was nice to go to 5 sets against Minnesota. But you got to think winning a set against the #1 team of the country and at least getting it to a 4th would be a huge deal for them.
Huge accomplishment, yes, to show that they're able to take a set from the #1 team, and for them to come together as a program and build what they've been trying to build this entire preseason and in-conference play. So it'll be a huge accomplishment to show them how much they've grown in such a short amount of time.
We're in a challenge. Robinson was pleading to the Wisconsin bench that there was a touch on this. It was Mateo up at the net again with Davis. And we just got word there was a touch there.
So Devin Robinson got the outcome that she wanted with a tool off the block with just by a finger.
So instead of Iowa by 1, it's Wisconsin by 1, and Wisconsin keeps their challenge. Cool J. Guchtikin will go back to serve. A perfect night for the coaches' challenges.
Let's see if they can keep that up.
Ashburn for Franklin, and Wisconsin by 2.
A nice easy ball down the line for Franklin. She really tests out the line, so that means she's also testing out the block as well. To see her continue just a smooth, controlled ball from Franklin is awesome to see.
Davis on the slide. Booth had hands on. Buechner cross court, and that is out.
Both teams being very competitive right now with what they want their outcome to be. So overall, these teams, they want this set. They want to earn it. They want to believe that somebody else across the net made a little bit of a mistake.
And Iowa's going to challenge it. So we're going to test that theory of if it's still a perfect night for the coaches' challenge. Now, Buechner signaled over to the bench right away. She thinks there was a deflection on a touch. Did Booth touch it?
I don't see any fingers moving.
Franklin and Guchtikin definitely didn't get it on the way by. Did it turn her wrist in a little bit?
Right, I do see that.
Or turn her wrist out a little bit.
But also, that could be good handwork, but also a deflection off the ball as well.
ball change direction?
Let's see. Let's see if the ball changes direction. A little bit of a direction change. A very interesting touch as well. Usually we're looking for fingers, but right now we're looking at the rotation of her wrist.
Don't see anything conclusive.
Very, very tricky.
Well, there was something inclusive.
Another perfect night for the coaches and their challenges.
Buettner signaled it right away, too. She had that feeling.
She did say that you can hear it, so you can't base off a touch based off hearing, of course, but sometimes if you believe and you hear something, then try to trust your guts on that and tell your coach.
Jim Barnes, 3 for 3. Using the card tonight. Overpass chance, and Iowa has tied it up. Anna Davis levels it at 15. Well, Wisconsin had their 2013 national runner-up team back this weekend, and there were some stories being exchanged from the alums about the danger of going to Iowa City. Wisconsin leads this third set, leads this match. They're tied in this third set, leading this match. Iowa making them earn it tonight. And Franklin out to give Iowa the lead, coming from behind in the third set.
Trying to hit that line shot, and as hitters, when you don't find success the first time, it's okay to keep trying because you have a game plan and you have something that you're working on. And during the game is the time to not try things out, but solidify what you've been practicing that entire week.
Buettner on the error. Iowa continuing to go for it.
Just the score being head-on-head to see who's going to get to 21st and who's going to create a run and create a stop towards the opponent's offense.
Mateo bump set and a block. Crawford and Robinson at the net.
Just what they needed to create a stop for their pin outside hitters. So this is a great read by both blockers and a time-synced ball for them to shut it straight down, pressing over the net and finishing straight in front of where her hitter is.
Robinson letting her former home state know it.
You're right.
And 2 in a row after that big block. She's from Ankeny, Iowa. The daughter of a basketball coach. And back in the state where she spent her high school days, and her Badgers, Devin Robinson's Badgers, lead it by 2 into a break.
Some people just know there's a podcast about
Hockey versus Apollo Creed type feel. Wisconsin a big underdog, and there are tears in his eyes.
Wow.
Said his daughter now thinks less of him because she walked in on him crying watching a 2013 match.
Overall, to see alumni come back home, and 2013, if you think about it, wasn't that long ago. So to see Kelly having tears in his eyes for something that may have felt so long ago and how many players have passed through is awesome to see that he has so much passion for the game and his players.
Now motivating for a lot of the current players because they saw what 10 years down the line could be for them if they do what they expect to do and try to get Wisconsin a second national title.
Exactly. It's a lot of expectations being a Wisconsin player and the history behind Wisconsin. So it's a lot of pressure, but I think that pressure encourages them and motivates them for what can be the future for their program.
Overpass. Franklin. Dennis. Robinson puts it away.
An overpass as well. Like I said, placing the ball on the court instead of just shooting it wherever the ball is coming from. It's using your handwork both left and right and recognizing where you are in the court and how much court space is left to finish the rally.
Iowa took that brief lead. 5-0 run since then for Wisconsin. Sarah Franklin. Well, hey, coming up, go behind the scenes of Big Ten volleyball and learn more about the conference's biggest stars at the net, presented by State Farm. Coming up next on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. The Big Ten Network features team has done a great job that series. You were part of that series last year.
I am a part of that series. It was a lot of fun for Big Ten Media Day to be able to talk to other Big Ten people and share my story and my experiences as a student athlete and how much I've contributed to the program and the growth of volleyball overall.
A 7-0 Wisconsin run. And 3 points away from another sweep in their 18th consecutive set win. Franklin, and that's down. 2 points away.
An easy shot. Iowa right now hopefully can create a stop for their offense across the net, but the mindset for these players is to just overly communicate, to overly do whatever you can do that you've been practicing in the gym to create a stop as best you can.
Over past Crawford into the block of Ortega, and match points coming. So Ortega over the net, 24-16, and match point number 1 for the Badgers. Julia Orgel. And a block. Closes it out for Wisconsin with Crawford. 18 straight set wins and 23 consecutive Big Ten wins. Maybe not. That was only 24.
That was, right. Everyone was very excited for that as well.
And that is the sealer with an ace for Julia Orgel. Now officially 18 straight set wins, 23 consecutive Big Ten wins for Wisconsin.
रानी हमर अखिया से आंसुआ गिरै छे दिलवा रोए के जान रानी हमर अखिया से आंसुआ गिरै छे दिलवा रोए के जान
गंगा जल रिकॉर्डिंग स्टूडियो महादेवगंज साहेबगंज तोरा याद में आंसुआ बहे छे दिलवा रोए जान गिरान तोरा याद में आंसुआ बहे छे दिलवा रोए जान गंगा जल रिकॉर्डिंग स्टूडियो महादेवगंज साहेबगंज
केकरा सहारे रहबै केकरा से दू बोलिया बोलबै अशोक अकेला के कहलू कि साथ न छोड़बै केकरा सहारे रहबै केकरा से दू बोलिया बोलबै अशोक अकेला के कहलू कि साथ न छोड़ब के रानी सोनी लागे आंसुआ गिरैले देहिया काप के लगे जा के रानी हमर अखिया से